Yeah, come over here. Sit on Daddy's lap. Anybody could make a movie.
I think the last thing you want is for me to sit on you.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Couldn't have been a better time to do that. Sometimes I gotta force it in, and sometimes it just works.
I mean, we could still be talking about the same thing. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yep, I know what podcast we're recording.
Yeah, although I did the ketchup bottle thing from Ghostface.
Yeah, you were really crossing the line.
Suitably filthy.
Though to be fair,
this week.
fan base loved it.
They did, yeah. I know my audience.
There it is. Speaking of your audience, we've got a review.
Nice.
5 stars to that point.
Good.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Nice. Good. Number 177 from email through Alex Bent with the subject 5-star review.
All right.
My favorite comic podcast. I love the humor and vast knowledge of the DC universe. You guys are the tragically hip of Canadian comic book podcasts. I mean, that's the greatest possible.
And I'm probably close to death.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Except for you're not looking emaciated.
I'll burn out bright. Yeah. It was in Bob KJ.
I'll be printing this on Post-it notes and leaving them around the local comic book stores from Kingston to Hamilton.
Hell yeah.
Also, if you're looking for a new game, what about something like Richard's wife gives 4 clues, but instead of a character, she's describing a comic book cover and Reed has to guess the issue?
That's fun too, actually.
Much harder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun too.
I think you don't really know about his covers that well. I mean, like some big ones, but like overall.
Yeah.
It feels like leveling up to like the next harder
But
one.
then the thing is that harder than picking like a random Silver Age character that appeared in one issue? Like, I don't know. It might not be.
Look, this is a well-oiled machine now.
I mean, it's oiled.
Speaking of, each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
Yeah. Speaking of, there's that fucking impeccable format. Love the fucking dog and pony show of you moving the stuff I prepare into your precious document you then proceed to ignore.
Howdy ho!
Are we the worst podcast with the most accolades?
Oh, I mean, that's an interesting idea. I mean, it's enough that it's possible.
We might be.
It's very plausible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Nice.
Nice.
Good Lord.
I got nothing to talk about except for this week's theme.
Yeah, well, this week's theme, now this is slightly out of order just because of a scheduling thing. Normally this would have been next week's episode, but as voted on by our Golden Age patrons and due to a scheduling thing with the guest we will have for what will be next week's episode.
I'm throwing them under the bus already.
I know. We're celebrating July Italian month.
Hey, that's right.
With an Italian character. We got an Italian character up in here.
Oh, what you gonna do about it?
Hey, what's the matter you?
Oh, mozzarella.
Capicola.
Other Italian things.
Prosciutto. Yeah, we're talking about the Huntress. We're talking about Helena Bertinelli.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Bertinelli, that is Italian.
I know. I wasn't making it up. Yeah.
I mean, you're just making assumptions, I thought maybe.
No. I would never do that.
Yeah, I saw her with a meatball one time, and I just assumed.
Yeah.
She was eating a slice of pizza.
She had a 6-inch Italian hoagie, and I was like, she's Italian.
Talking about that link I sent you?
Easy. we're talking about the Huntress. Pretty big character.
This is a character that we've seen if you don't read the comics, you've at least seen them in Harley Quinn.
They're in the Birds of Prey movie.
Birds of Prey movie, yeah.
They also were a character on Arrow for a bit. Mm-hmm. They were also on that early 2000s Birds of Prey show.
Oh yeah.
They were in there.
I do love that the thing about Arrow.
Huntress is a sort of a second cousin sort of in the Bat family.
Oh, second cousin.
No.
Second cousin, I'm stuck.
I'm stuck fighting this crime. Ugh. Man. Things are bad.
Not as bad as Step. It's second cousin. Wait, no, hold on.
Hang on.
I
think you just told on yourself.
Uh-oh.
Second cousin's definitely worse.
Yeah, I think you're
Step,
right.
you're not related.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, no, it's definitely worse to be not related than to be distantly related.
Because in my mind...
That's pretty fucked up, man.
In my mind, I was like, Step, that's like sibling. And then I didn't think about the blood factor.
Jesus.
I never think about the blood factor.
I mean...
Huh?
What a great way to kick off July Italian week.
With Jewel incest.
No.
But
we're talking about the Huntress, goddammit.
Oh, yeah. The Crossbow Killer.
The Crossbow Killer.
That's right.
Per the joke in the Birds of Prey movie, which is like one of my favorite bits of that movie.
It's a good bit, yeah.
Because it is true. It's like you don't always get to control what people call you. And I kind of love that idea that she's been calling herself the Huntress for years, and everyone in the papers and everything, they're just like, it's the Crossbow Killer.
It's awesome.
So funny. It's such a good bit.
Well, we've got a bunch of questions.
We have a ton.
Okay.
That was a normal way to say that.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're looking at me weird.
Normal.
You're looking at me like I just said it's fine to fuck a second cousin.
I said it's less bad, I think is what I said.
Pretty fucked up, nonetheless.
From a certain point of view.
Second cousin. That's a name I haven't heard. Couldn't mean old step cousin out beyond the Dune Sea.
Step cousin, I mean, that's fine.
Couldn't mean old Ben cousin. That's up there for a favorite bit of mine with the it's your cousin Marvin something. It's just to go. He couldn't mean old Ben insert thing.
Love that. All right, the first question's coming from Twitter.
That's Twitter.
First question is from Greg Fine.
Fine. Yeah, Greg's so fine, you'd swear you were distantly related to him.
Oh my God. If only.
Jesus Christ. So fucked up. What the fuck?
If only. God.
Why would you say that? Why would you bring this into the world?
God. I mean, Step, that's so close. Greg asks, can you explain what was going on with Helena Wayne pretending to be Bertinelli in the New 52? Did they plan on Bertinelli not being real?
So here's an interesting thing with the Huntress. Is there's actually kind of two main Huntresses.
You don't say.
The first one is actually Golden Age Huntress, and she is the daughter of the Golden Age Batman and Catwoman.
Whoa.
So she's on Earth 2, pre-crisis. Helena Wayne grows up to be the Huntress. And then on the Silver Age Earth 1, what is now the main continuity, there's Helena Bertinelli, who's the Huntress. She's totally separate.
Yeah.
Other than just being, implicated in the Bat sphere of comics. She's not actually related to any of them that way. So in the New 52, what they did to try and... I mean, I think it was initially an attempt to kind of fuse these things together.
Yeah.
Is they... part of the story in the New 52 is that Earth 2's Helena Wayne, who at the time was Robin, and Kara Zor-El, who was Supergirl, get accidentally flung from Earth 2 to Prime Earth.
Okay.
And that's after Darkseid attacks their world and kills the Trinity on Earth 2 and stuff like that. So them stuck on the Prime continuity, Helena changes her name. She adopts the identity of the presumed dead Helena Bertinelli.
Okay.
So Helena Wayne takes the name Helena Bertinelli and becomes the Huntress, and Kara Zor-El becomes Power Girl. Because there's also a Supergirl on the Prime Earth, right? Because she comes from another Earth. And that was how the New 52 was trying to tackle the idea that both of these characters, who are legacy characters in their own rights, also share mantles and even names and stuff with a more contemporary, like, main continuity counterpart. And particularly with Helena, I think the idea was they were setting up that Helena Bertinelli was dead. So she took her name. So she could be both Helena Wayne and Helena Bertinelli. And kind of like they were trying to bridge the two versions of Huntress, basically. Now, what ends up happening, though, is that she ends up returning to Earth 2. She ends up becoming Batman eventually on Earth. And Helena Bertinelli on the Prime continuity, presumed dead, turns out was not. She was actually went by codename Matron, and she ends up heading up Spiral, the spy agency that Grayson goes to work for.
Yes.
So, it actually kind of worked out in its own way. I mean, I think it was pretty clear that the idea was that Helena Wayne and Helena Bertinelli would be one character, and that was the way they were going to do it. Mm-hmm. But to bring the actual Helena Bertinelli back, it was actually the cleanest way you could have done that she was in a spy organization and therefore, had killed her old identity. And it was actually, for all of the New 52 things, it's the one that doesn't feel like they undid anything. It just feels like a sequence, Mm-hmm. But that's kind of what was happening around then. And then she eventually takes up, when Spiral kind of falls apart, she becomes Huntress.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, next question comes from Braydon, registered trademark, the Soapy Donkey, who asks, how do the other DC heroes feel about Huntress not having a no-kill policy with her bad guys?
Yeah, I mean, they're not super cool.
They don't love it.
I mean, listen, there are other characters that feel the way that Huntress does. But, think of the people that she works the closest with. Barbara Gordon. Not thrilled about that.
Yeah.
Canary, probably not thrilled about that. Batman, it always comes. There's always friction with Batman, because also Batman is like notoriously difficult to work with and a very like kind of zero sum sort of fellow sometimes. And in Batman Huntress Cry for Blood, like as soon as someone washes up, like a body washes up, that's all connected to her with an arrow. He's like, well, Huntress did it. Like the trust is thin. It's very flimsy. And I think a big part of that is that so much of her thing is built on like vengeance, getting vengeance for her slaughtered family. And it's all about mob crime. And these people don't deserve, like she evolves, she softens her ways and stuff like that. She has a great character arc and a lot of evolution in that. But I do think that because she starts in that place, there's a lot of these very contentious relationships with other heroes. I think we'll talk about the show next week, but Justice League Unlimited does a great job of showing the relationship of other heroes to Huntress, where the unease is and where she is making progress and where people aren't meeting her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think generally speaking, it makes people uncomfortable / distrustful of her. You think even with the people that maybe might also, Green Arrow's killed people and stuff like that, but I think it's because hers is such like a anger fueled, it's all the vengeance, and that she's, I think it gives off the impression that she is not thinking clearly.
Sure.
And that's, I think, the way that she's perceived. Yeah.
All right, next question comes from our favorite religious representative.
Ooh, Chris Chan.
The one and only, who asks, who would consider her prey in her hierarchy of heroes and villains in Gotham?
Oh, because she's the Huntress.
Yeah.
So who would hunt the Huntress? Who hunts the Huntress is the question?
Yes. Who watches the Watchers?
Well, it's interesting because, she is a superhero. She has fought superhero-y villains and events and things like that. But her real, raison d'etre, the reason she becomes the Huntress is because of the mob. So in a way, she's a very, even down to her origins, she's got a lot in common with the early days of Batman, which is, you see family gunned down, you're trying to take on corruption and organized crime and stuff like that. Like, a lot of her adversaries are that kind of tier. It's not like she's going out of her way to fight people with a tiger head or you know what I mean, like monsters or new gods or things like that. She's pretty street level. So who would consider her prey? Well, some of those crime family, I think you start getting into the territory of where those things cross over, right? Who's a dangerous crime boss / supervillain is someone like Black Mask, or the people that would hire super muscle,
Sure.
Not everyone's got the budget to hire Deathstroke or Deadshot or things like that. But I think there's probably a certain breed of criminal or crime family or thing like that would. Yeah. In that way, there's a lot of similarities also to Catwoman, right? Catwoman's individual adventures are relatively street level in Gotham, and I think that's also true of Huntress. Yeah. Because the primary difference is that she comes from a crime family, and they were gunned down by a different crime family. Stefano Mandragora.
Ooh.
Which is a great fucking name.
Great name.
Great name.
Spicy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Wow.
Scribbity-boop-boop, Huntress.
What was the thing that you guys did in school that you kept repeating when you were trying to scat?
Oh, I can't remember. Oh, it was always something stupid because it was like none of us were good at it, but it would always be like zip zap zoop bop doobity bop. Like, it was so just like good. Nobody really understood that you have to treat the nonsense sounds as words. You can't just throw them in any order. You got to
it's not beep bop a doop bop.
But there's a shape to it.
Yeah.
The reason that wop bop a loo wop work is that there's a thought to how those sounds shape, and we wouldn't do that. We just go deep bop boop scoop scott
Sure, yeah. It's not like you're doing it in place of words. You're just doing
doing sounds.
Yes.
Until our 8 bars ended, you can step back.
Beep a deep deep beep boop a doop boop.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Always horrible.
Well, from Instagram, we've got a question from Dem Jinkies, who asks, which one of her many costumes is your favorite?
Oh, man. Huntress has had so many costumes.
Personally, Dem Jinkies thinks that the badass late 90s / No Man's Land is the hot, sexy, coolest.
Huntress has there's quite a number of different costumes or variations on a relatively similar costume. For a while, she suffered a little bit from the Power Girl thing of just a random window on her costume.
Sure.
Except hers was, instead of the boob window, hers was a rectangle from just under her boobs, just down to the top of
It's a weird place.
Where pants would start.
It's like a belly button window?
But it's just like a rectangle. And that was a Huntress look. And that, it's both unfunctional and it's sexual.
Hot?
It's also sexualized in a weird way where they were well, we couldn't possibly put this over the boobs, but we definitely have to see her body.
Not funny, haha. Funny, weird.
Yeah. God, you're so cool. Do you are you on TikTok or something?
You'll find out later.
Wow. Favorite costume, though. I really like the version of her costume that she had at the start of the Rebirth era. So this is the Helena Bertinelli that we had in the New 52, who was Matron, who was part of Spiral. And then when she gets out, she kind of has this cool, I mean, it's purple and white, and black, the classic Huntress colors. Sure, yeah. But it had those, I don't know what you call them, when it's, think of like a kung fu gi. What are those
Oh, like the toggles?
Yeah, or like a brass band or something.
Sure, yeah.
It has those going down. It had a hood. It had cool, it wasn't like a cape, but it was like a long hooded coat with tails and stuff. It was that's a cool ass costume. Mm-hmm. But I also I kind of like the sort of armory Helena Wayne one from the New 52.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's a decent costume.
I like that.
I do like when her costume had the white cross on it, because she's a Catholic or whatever. This is the cartoon version.
Oh, that's cool. Weird belly button. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's the weird outfit.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite is this kind of Rebirth era one though. I think that's a really cool
it's more
look.
like a Robin kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, it feels very functional. I love the kind of almost kung fu inspired sort of jacket coat. I like the hood and the mask. It's just a good look. I think that one's my favorite. Yeah.
Love it.
Of the ones that I've been showing you, did you have one that you liked?
I think I like the updated Helena Wayne one.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a cool one. And then this is the kind of the late 90s one.
Very Batgirl-y kind of.
Well, she was briefly Batgirl as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sure, yeah. Okay, well, why don't we leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit,
where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
You were what do I got to do?
But I did it.
No.
I did it.
We did it. We did it. I mostly did it. First question comes from MadSeb77, who asks, is Huntress better served as her own character instead of being the daughter of Bruce and Selena? Or do you think that there's a way to weave back that original plot thread and make it make sense? Time travel, mind wipe, multiverse refugee? Thanks.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have done the multiverse refugee thing, but the big thing there was that they were trying not to make contact.
Sure.
That's why she takes the name Helena Bertinelli. She's she and Kara try to lay low, or as relatively low.
Sure.
I like it's funny because I'm pretty sure the Helena Wayne Huntress is first. Is the earlier version of the character.
Sure, yeah.
But I kind of only like it because it's tucked over there. On this other Earth isn't that interesting. I really prefer Helena Bertinelli. I like that she has this kind of parallel path to Batman without actually being related.
Yeah.
But the of being 8 years old and seeing your family gunned down, of training and wanting revenge or whatever. But she takes a different path than Bruce does. And I like that, and I like her character, and I think it's important that she isn't family. Because family. I think it's important that she isn't family, especially now, because we already have other, she'd kind of be eating Damien's lunch if they went to go back and make her part of the family, the child who's,
sure.
Either you kind of have to get rid of the part of her that is sometimes people have to die, or that edge to her, even if she's grown past it. It's in there, right? She almost killed Prometheus. There's it keeps coming up, so you either have to sand that off because she's always been the daughter of Batman. She would never. And then you kind of go well, that's less interesting. Or she keeps that, but by making her related Now it's like, so both Damien and her are these like, we were trained by other people and we don't have your moral compunction sort of thing. And it's like, well, that's not it either. I think it's better that she's kind of on the outside. She can have this kind of like, I actually don't need your permission to operate in Gotham. Fuck you, Batman, sort of thing, which I kind of like and appreciate. And
sort of undermining him by like killing people too.
Yeah, I mean, and again, she does move on from that. But the thing that makes her interesting is that she has to walk that path. You know, like I like that it's a choice for her. She's decided, to grow beyond that. But I also like that her group is, she has Barbara Gordon. She's got Dinah. Yep. She's got that group. She had in the 90s, she had like a brief relationship with Nightwing. Like I like that she's around the Bat family, but do I want her to literally be, Bruce Wayne's daughter or Selena Kyle's daughter? No. Do I want her to have like an amended, like she's a half sister or something? No. Like I want her to stand on her own, I think. Because I think there's also the opportunity to make her a bit more global. Like if you imagine her mission as organized crime.
Sure.
And especially this version that has all of this espionage experience too. It's like there's no reason Huntress shouldn't be going to take out the triad,
sure, yeah.
Go on an adventure to, fight the Yakuza or, I think there's something kind of interesting and globetrotty and specific about her mission that works too, even though she's mostly a Gotham hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Reddit comes from Cassandra Kane, Batgirl, who asks, do you think she is better trained than her alternative, Helena Wayne? I asked because Bertinelli was in espionage while Wayne was not.
Better trained. Interesting. So, I mean, Helena Wayne on Earth 2 is raised and trained by Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, which by comic book logic
makes her far more
exceptional training.
Yeah.
Helena Bertinelli has an interesting route, though, because it starts with like her aunt and uncle take her into Sicily. When she survives the hit on her family,
sure,
she moves to Sicily and she starts like learning and training and practicing archery and hand-to-hand and all that kind of stuff. Is that training better than Batman's? I don't think so. But it's pretty good. And then is it in Cry for Justice? Or Cry for Blood, whatever it's called. Cry for Blood. Cry for Justice is the Prometheus story with Green Arrow. In Batman Huntress Cry for Blood, the Question, she and the Question and like Richard Dragon, like there's like she trains with Richard Dragon who also trained the Question. I think she comes around to better and better training. And then if you fold in the time with Spiral and all of that stuff, she probably, the version of Huntress we have now with all of that rolled together is probably better trained than Helena Wayne. But, Helena Wayne has the sort of plot armor of being a Wayne slightly. But yeah, I would say that Bertinelli probably has a more diverse training. Again, these kind of weird parallels to Batman of like training under multiple different people and for different things. There is something interesting about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
She definitely doesn't have where Helena Wayne would have the advantage. She would almost certainly have done all of the other study. Batman is like a whiz with computers. He's an inventor. He's like Helena's not necessarily that.
Sure.
That's not to say she's dumb. She's not. She's very smart. But she's a fighter and she's, a bit of a tactician and she's, a martial artist. But is she a chemist? No. Is she a, engineer?
Sure,
no.
Yeah.
Bruce has that like polymath thing that Helena Wayne almost certainly would at least be trained in, even if it didn't naturally come to her. And that would maybe be where she would make up the ground from the
espionage,
from the literal training that, like the fight training and tactics training that Helena Bertinelli would have.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we're going to leave Reddit and head on over to the doc squad.
Oh.
The doc squad.
She's my donkey pie.
What?
Talk about a scored what? A sweet doc scored.
She's my donkey pie?
Donkey pie.
That's not what it sounds like.
I said doc, like doc scored.
Sounds like you said donkey pie.
Yeah, well, she's also that.
Also, you must have done that.
Ugh.
But I'll let it.
I want to know what doc scored. I want you to score me.
I want to dox your doc scored.
I dox you to score me.
Whoa.
I'm gonna dox a little score. A little score to dox this over.
You gotta read between the
scored.
In case I dox it when I'm scored.
Older scored.
It's scolder, but it works, yeah.
Fuck.
Okay. First question from the doc score comes from Yo Crow.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's shorter.
I know. It's cooler.
Drop the.
Drop
the it's scare
bro.
It's cleaner.
Yeah. Who asks? Huntress had an extremely unnecessarily dark origin in her original story back in 1989. And didn't get revised until Cry for Blood in the year of Cheek Lord 2000. So, my question is, the retcons and origins are constantly going backwards, changing back to the original origins, or because of multiverse, was her darker origin story ever revisited, or does her origin self ever encounter her darker origin self?
Right. I see what we're asking. There are some differences between her initial origin and then the big Cry for Blood kind of retcon. The big pieces that are mostly intact between both is that she's a child of the Bertinelli crime family.
Sure.
That I believe in both versions. Well, actually, that might not be true. The Cry for Blood version is that she's not really whatever Franco Bertinelli or whatever her dad's name is. She's not really his daughter. She's the daughter of this other crime guy, the guy that calls the hit, who like hires Stefano Mandragora to kill the Bertinellis. And it goes wrong, and her mom is also killed, and all this stuff. In the original. So the original darker one, I think the difference is that she's been sexually abused by her family.
Oh boy.
And that's largely been let go.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I mean, A, it's very dark.
Yeah.
Extremely fucked up. And B, it wasn't really part of the what became the shape of her narrative, right? Which was more about this vengeance against Mandragora and whatever the guy's name is, like Casanado, or there's all these fucking Italian names.
It is July Italian month, baby.
So that Cry for Blood retcon basically eliminates that piece. But for the most part, I mean, the broad strokes of it are intact. Crime family killed, taken to Sicily, trains, comes back, wages war on organized crime, get vengeance for her family.
Sure.
Some details shift and change, but largely it's the same thing. So, no, there's that. And because of that, and I think because of how dark it, I don't know that anyone's like scrambling to get that back into her character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's also, it's not like... They weren't like worlds apart origins, right? It's a retcon. It wasn't like they didn't reboot her. So there's no real reason, even hyper time reason, for those versions to meet. There's maybe a fun reason for Helena Wayne and Helena Bertinelli to meet. That's fun. But there's not really like a good reason to just revisit a thing that's essentially just a retcon. Like it's not, they're not distinct.
Sure.
I mean, they technically are because of things like hypertime and that. You could theoretically bring that origin back in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you'd need a real good reason for it and a really good writer.
Yes.
And I just don't see, because otherwise I just don't see it. Especially at this point, it would feel like a real step backwards, I think, for her character and the arc of her character and how far she's come to be like, we should really reintroduce this like horrifying trauma.
Yeah.
So no, they don't really meet up. And the Cry for Blood is a great story. It's 6 issues. This is the one where like a crime boss washes up with like an arrow and Batman was like, I know it was you. And she's like, fuck you. And, you know, the story features the Question. There's her kind of relationship with Question is in there. A thing that is also in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. Yeah, it's an examination of her morality and when she feels it's okay to kill and when it's not, and the progress she's been making and the lack of trust people put in her. It's a very interesting story. It's also the story where this retcon comes out, where she, I think, learns that her dad was not her dad, and that her biological father is the one that put the hit out, and all of these things are in that 6 issues. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's worth reading, but I don't know that it's worth undoing the retcons of Cry for Blood.
Sure. All right, next question comes from the real Josh Gill.
Oh, sexy Gill.
He sent me a fucking hot tub photo the other day on my birthday.
Whoa. Yeah, aren't you jealous? I'm gonna spend some time with him.
Yeah, I know. I'll be there.
I mean, on FaceTime.
I'll be around.
It's just here. It's like, I was like, oh, he's been there the whole time.
Actually, I only Skype in.
Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. I was glad I remembered that.
I know.
That bit could have failed horribly.
We fucking nailed it.
I saw a thing, how Microsoft shut down Internet Explorer?
Yes.
Someone put this tweet up, and they did the math because it started in 95.
Yep.
So it went from 95 to 2022.
Sure.
Someone was like another victim of the 27 Club.
That's a stupid joke, but I like it.
I laughed.
All right. Real Josh Gill asks,
okay,
is she a better as a member of the Bat family, Birds of Prey, or Head of Spiral?
It's almost like I should have typed it out so I could catch that instead of just fucking copying
I just assumed that's what you did.
No, I've been doing your
pasting without formatting.
So every fucking mistake you see is because your process sucks.
Or our fucking residents don't know how to type.
I mean, there's that too, but I gave them dignity via my approach.
Yeah, you fucked up for them?
No, I would fix everything.
You constantly
never made a mistake. I defy you, any of you, to go back and download as many episodes as possible.
Yeah, there's no way that you guys could find any mistakes.
Never.
Mm-mm.
What was the question?
Is she better as a Bat family, Birds of Prey, or Head of Spiral?
Head of Spiral was fun, but I think that was always going to be temporary.
Sure.
Because I think certainly the way they did, Spiral itself was corrupt. She wasn't the head of Spiral when that started. She became that because they had to take down whatever his name was, Master Minos, whatever his name was. And then she became the head of Spiral. But I think you get that kind of thing of like, well, even a system that works outside the system, like espionage, it's just there's too many moving parts, too much corruption. I can trust me, and I can trust a select few allies, and it's better if I go vigilante.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I like her with the Birds of Prey. I think that's probably the best fit. The Bat family is interesting story-wise, but not a good fit for her. Like they don't gel great. I love that she's been showing up in She was in Detective Comics in the Mariko Tamaki, run that's been going on. She was in Arkham Tower, and she had a backup story in Detective Comics and stuff. And like that was really cool. I really liked that. But even that, it was like Huntress was in the tower, and it's like at a certain point, people were like, "Is anybody going to try and get her?" It was like, like if pick one. If Tim was in the tower, they'd be like, "Drop everything." And there was a sort of like Huntress is a little forgotten, not 100%, but a little bit, and that's a piece of that. I think Birds of Prey is the best kind of best version of Huntress for me. I like when she works with Barbara and when she works with Dinah, and even when she kind of led the Birds of Prey for a bit, when there was like Barda and like just other people were on the team, and that like I like that too. I think that's a good fit for her. They're mostly street level. It gives her an opportunity to actually be a leader, which she doesn't get with the Bat family. I enjoy the Birds of Prey for her.
All right, next question comes from Lilith, her, who asks, what's the deal with Helena Wayne / Helena Kyle? What's her relation to Helena Bertinelli?
So, truly no relation other than that piece from the New 52.
Okay.
Where they were doing that kind of like, can we make these one character?
Sure.
Where it was that she's Helena Wayne from Earth 2, stranded on our Earth, and she's taken up the name of the presumed deceased, Helena Bertinelli.
Okay.
That's really the only real connection between those two.
Yeah.
Because Bertinelli is just not related to the Bat family.
Totally.
Not even like distantly. Like she's not even like a second cousin to them.
Oh my God, so hot.
Ugh. Horrible.
So I can only get so hard, Reed.
Yeah, it's true. You can only get so hard, huh?
I know, it's a real problem. Yeah. I can only get so hard.
That's a real like vague sentence. Inflection changes a lot about that sentence.
Oh man, I can only get so hard.
Oh yeah, it only gets so hard.
Yeah. I know, put a popsicle stick underneath. I think that helps.
Splint. Jesus. Good Lord.
All right, next question comes from a but who asks, so does Helena's crossbow reload itself, or does she have to do it each time?
Right. That's interesting. So I think there's enough versions of her, and there's probably alternate ones too, but I think she has a sort of like it's almost like a handgun crossbow.
Hell yeah.
That has like a
chamber?
revolver kind of thing. So I think it's this way in the cartoon too, but I'm pretty sure it's like this in the comics, where she could like put in whatever it is, let's just call it like 12 shots.
Sure.
And she can I like that.
That's cool.
Also, the crossbow is just like a cool look.
Yeah. Probably should just like use a gun, but at that point,
I do think that the crossbow is interesting because it does feel like an old world weapon.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe like, I think I'm probably giving too much credit here, but I think that's a way of almost being like, she trained elsewhere, didn't she? Like,
sure.
You can almost picture her like living in Sicily and like training in an old abandoned castle or something.
Sure.
Like, she's using a crossbow. Like, it almost feels like medieval.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of evokes that thing. I think it also feels very like, especially that outfit that I said that I liked with the hood and that, there's almost a sort of like religious side to it.
I could see that.
And
yeah.
Helena is like Catholic. She, there's a cross on a bunch of her costumes, like in the costume, and also she would like wear a cross and stuff like that. I like that there's almost a sort of like religious, I shouldn't invoke something as incel as the Boondock Saints, but there's a sort of like Boondock Saints-y vibe to it. And I think the crossbow's part of that aesthetic that works. I think I also like the idea that it's probably a much slower, worse, more painful experience than being shot with a bullet. and that's probably part of the idea.
Yeah.
Even if she's going non-lethal,
Sure,
it's a lot worse than being shot with a bullet.
Very true.
And fuck you. And I think that's part of Helena's edge too. That works. But yeah, I think she's had a kind of revolver one. I don't think she's reloading every time, but Crossbow is such a cool look, and it's also because it's relatively unique. There's lots of characters with guns or swords or things like that. There's not many with a crossbow.
Sure.
And I kind of like that she sort of had like it's a joke in Birds of Prey, but she kind of is the crossbow killer, or at least the crossbow user. You know what I mean? If you're just like people in DC who uses a crossbow, I'd say Huntress, and I'd go like, I mean, Oliver probably at some point. But you know what I mean? Like, there's not like a bunch of people that I just go to right away that are like, they're definitely crossbow people. It's such like a Huntress thing. And I kind of love that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I do too. It's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Only Just Dan again, who asks, how murderous do you prefer Huntress to be on a scale from Batman to Punisher?
I don't want her to be too murderous. I mean, listen, strictly speaking, and I do believe this, the best superhero stories are the ones where they find another way. I believe that's true for almost every character. Mm-hmm. I like the stories where, for whatever reason, because it's part of the contract or something, Lobo can't kill.
Sure.
Like, I think it's interesting, especially when it's a character who's like, this is how I usually do things, but I'll I almost across the board prefer that.
Because it's usually easier just to shoot someone in the fucking head.
However, that doesn't mean it's not narratively
interesting
to see someone falter or to see someone start in a darker place and work past it.
Yeah.
So do I want Helena to be like a paragon of virtue? No. Do I mostly want her not to kill? Yes. Do I think it's character assassination if given the right story or circumstances she does kill? No.
Okay.
I don't think that is like a slight on her character but again, it's the context. If someone just took over, writing Huntress in Birds of Prey and was like, and she's just been killing people left, right, and center, I'd be like, sure. Okay, so you're just ignoring shit. Like that sucks. But if there's a story with a reason, like that Question Quarterly number 1, where it's like, maybe in this case, whether it's true or not, they've decided that killing is the only way to save the day, and they do it. And that's a thing she has to wear, and that's part of the kind of Catholic guilt thing. It's part of the rage and vengeance, especially if she sees someone who's maybe suffered the way she has or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there is room for her to falter and not completely undo the growth of her character.
Yeah, that's fair.
So on that scale, that's like a Red Hood, I guess.
Yeah,
because that's kind of where we're at with
similar
with Jason too, right? Do I want Jason just running around shooting people? No, but I like. There's something intriguing about the idea that
he's fighting that urge, maybe,
or not even that it's an urge in the Sam Demon Blood sense,
sure.
But that it's he has crossed that line before. It's the thing Batman is afraid of. If I make the justification once, I'll do it again.
Yeah,
and it is that thing of I could just do this,
and I've done it,
and then maybe they do falter and do it again, and they go, of course it didn't fix it. I knew it wouldn't fix it,
but then you can, so fucking good.
But then you could still explore that, and it's not that they turn evil or something, but it's that maybe it's a moment of weakness or desperation or something. They've done it before, they do it again, and they go, fuck, and I know Batman was right, or whatever that piece is, or Dinah told me not to do it, or that I regret it, and she was right, and I have just to fucking live with it.
Or maybe just the sweet taste of watching him light and leave a man's eyes is worth it.
Jesus,
what?
Good Lord,
huh?
So you're on the Punisher end of that scale?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I think, that's my kind of perspective on that. I'm sure someone who is a bigger Huntress fan probably disagrees, but I do think there is room for characters like Huntress or Red Hood or Green Arrow or people like that to slip or falter or not falter, but just make that decision and come back from it and deal with it and live with it, and it to be narratively interesting and part of their character growth, and not like undoing it.
Totally. All right, next question comes from Crimson Raven, who asks, how do you feel her portrayal on Arrow held up to her comic persona? Or is there a non-comic version that works well for you?
The Arrow Huntress is pretty boring, I gotta say. And
what was it with Arrow that was like, you know what's going to make this show better? Bring in another person who shoots arrows.
I mean, that's also kind of funny.
What's this show missing? This show Arrow.
I feel like there's not enough arrows.
I feel like that's what it's got to be, right? Yeah. We're trying to make a Batman thing. Well, let's add some more people with arrows, I think. It's in the name.
I mean, that's pretty funny. I found Huntress to be rather boring, and, I know on these things, everyone is trying their best. No one is trying to do a bad job, but I think that actor just wasn't good.
Sure.
Or wasn't good in that role, or
or
they have to bomb in for like an episode every like 4 weeks for like one season, so they don't really feel like they're creating an arc or something like that.
Whatever the reasons, it does not translate. Yeah. It doesn't work. I didn't really love Huntress there, other than I guess some of the very kind of topical. But was the like persona like similar to the comic or no?
No, I think the mistake in that show was that, if you scowl and go, that means like you've seen some stuff.
I mean, that's that whole show.
It definitely is. That's a lot of what's in that show. I think Helena has more layers and more to uncover, and I know they did a bit of it on Arrow, but the version I like is the one from Birds of Prey. That is a character who is tough as nails, will kill you, no compunction.
Yeah.
But there's a sadness, there's an awkwardness, there's a loneliness. She wants other friends. Sure, she wants to make a joke.
Friends?
But she also is like, I have a mission. No one's going to fucking stop me. And if you get in my way, I'll kill you too.
Yeah.
And they don't undo each other.
Yeah.
Like, Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays that very well.
Yeah.
Does she play it maybe a little more kind of jokey, awkward? Like, yes, but that's also the tone of that movie. There's probably something just a shade darker from her that's maybe like comic perfect.
Yeah.
But that's way closer to it than Arrow for me.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that.
Totally.
Yeah. I keep coming back to it, but it's hard not to invoke Justice League Unlimited, because that show has some of the best characterizations of most DC characters.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not all, but most. And Huntress is a great one. She is like a deeply compassionate person, but also like doesn't fuck around. And, there are people that just like deserve to die. And then it's like, fine, I won't kill. And then there's like you can play with that character, and that version is great. And I think, the closest live action one is probably the Birds of Prey one.
Nice. Next question comes from Mullet Overlord, who asks, does Huntress have a relationship with the Question in other continuities, or is it just in the DCAU?
So, they are like a full ship. In Justice League Unlimited.
Hell yeah.
There's a great episode written by Gail Simone called Double Date.
We Stand a Legend.
That invokes some of the Cry for Blood stuff. It uses Steve Mandragora. Huntress is going to go, I think the Justice League has to protect him because he's going to flip. He's like a witness. But she knows that he killed her family and she wants to kill him. But the Justice League has to protect him. So Green Arrow and Black Canary are hired to protect Mandragora. And the Question and Huntress kind of team up. And the Question's going to help her find some kind of justice. Ultimately, he isn't trying to help her kill Mandragora. He's trying to help her just come to terms with things or whatever. And But it's a great episode that basically is like Question and Huntress. It's the start of them having a relationship, and it's them versus Green Arrow, Black Canary. It's a very, very fun episode, but it invokes a lot of the Cry for Blood stuff, including the fact that she and Question have a thing. That comic book story has that in there. So even though that relationship is considerably more fleshed out in the cartoon, it's in that comic. And the Question is ultimately like disappointed by Huntress's desire to kill. He takes her to Richard Dragon, and there's training and all that kind of stuff, and they do have a relationship, but he's ultimately kind of disappointed by the fact that she has this kind of desire to kill or whatever. As far as I know, that's kind of the extent of their relationship. I don't think it really... I think it's like there's more of it in the cartoon than there is in the comics. But yes, strictly speaking, Question and Huntress do have a history in comics, in continuity.
Seems like that Cry for Blood is like the thing you'll look out for, eh?
It's a great Huntress story. But there's also, that 90s run in Nightwing, she's in that a lot. There's a lot of Huntress in there. No Man's Land, she's big in No Man's Land. She joins the Justice League for a bit, I think just post Rock of Ages.
Sure. That's
I think so that's the JLA series. I think just around then she joins the league. She's around. Like, there's a lot of good Huntress stuff. Birds of Prey, obviously. Read, runs of Birds of Prey. Huntress is in there. That's a great spot to see Huntress. But,
sure.
She pops in and out of different Batman books and things like that. But the biggest ones are probably Batman, Huntress, Cry for Blood, the 90s run of Nightwing, and any run of Birds of Prey, essentially.
Nice.
Or almost any run of Birds of Prey, because I guess the New 52 one didn't have her in there.
Well... That was the last question. But it's time to play everyone's favorite game.
Oh my God.
Can you guess the name of the character based on someone who does not read comic books? Can describe that character to us. If you don't know how the game is played, I send a DC character photo to my wife. Well, no, it's an illustration more than a photo, but
yeah, photo.
Yeah.
I went to Star City and I took a picture.
That's right. Someone was looking for photos of Spider-Man. Didn't have those, but I do have a different character.
Okay.
Send them to my wife, who does not read comic books, nor does she care for them. She sends back 4 clues describing what she sees. The doctor does not know who the character is, and we'll try to guess based on these 4 clues. So, I'm a little bit tipsy. Honestly, that one super good did it to me.
I could always tell. I can tell when I'm saying something, and you're just kind of looking at the screen, and then you go, "Oh yeah, of course." Like I caught you sleeping at work or
what?
Something. That's what it looks like.
Don't tell the boss.
Oh, wait.
Oh, oops.
Oops.
I guess I've been a bad boy.
Easy.
All right. First of all,
you don't pay me enough for that.
We can make an arrangement.
I'm willing to.
All right.
Let's not write checks with our mouth that our
ass can't check.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let your mouth write checks
that
your neck can't cash.
Oh my God.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, fucking step on it.
Yeah, or something.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. My life is meaningless.
First of 4 clues. First clue is boring brown belt.
Alan Scott.
No. Though. Surprisingly not as far as you might think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Boring brown belt. Yeah, I'm gonna. It must be a Justice Society character, someone who just looks like they put on slacks and a superhero shirt. Is it Jay Garrick?
No.
Johnny Thunder?
No.
Next clue.
Next clue. Whitest white boy ever.
Whitest white boy ever.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
And boring brown belt.
Yeah.
Whitest white boy ever?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of like what visually would make him look like the whitest white boy ever.
Yes,
and there's the version that is that he's like either like luminescent, like he's white, or it's that he must have like some Dorcas haircut.
Think about who wrote these clues.
Well, this is what I mean.
Yeah,
there's the kind of Kent Nelson.
No.
Next clue.
All right, next clue. Security company hero.
Is it Guardian? No. Manhattan Guardian?
It's not that.
Why did you say it like that?
I don't know. Why did you say it like that?
It's not like the Newsboy Legion.
Nope.
Mr. Action.
Nope.
It's not the Guardian.
No.
Or the Metropolis Guardian. Manhattan Guardian.
No. It's none
Is he
of
wearing
those.
blue and gold?
No.
Oh, okay. It's none of those, but it's something. Guardian is part of the name.
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Last clue.
Wannabe Green Giant.
Green Guardian?
That's what it is. I guess.
Yeah, nailed it. Feel great about that.
Yeah, when I put the two things together.
I mean, but there was also the opposite where all I had to say for one of them was Mr. Camera, and I said every other version. Cameraman, Captain Camera, Dr. Camera.
Mr. Camera? The Green Guardian or the Green Guardsman, both of them seem to be a thing. Is real name Scott Mason. Alternate.
That's a good 40s name.
Alternate Earth superhero and a member of the Justice League of America. Or Justice Guild of America, sorry.
Oh, are you picking another one from that fucking one episode of Justice League Unlimited?
I don't know.
Yes, because that's the only place the Justice Guild exists that way. Jesus. No wonder I'm having a hard time thinking of it. You're picking a character that barely exists.
If you're not well versed in DC, it's okay. We can find someone.
I will kill you.
All right. If you were able to guess this character, let us know. Or you want to send us a question for next week's episode?
Next week's episode.
Justice League Unlimited.
Yes. Finally,
we are doing it.
We are doing it.
And I won't be here.
No. You get to hear what the podcast sounds like when it's good.
Oh, yeah. You think I'm going to listen? That's sweet.
No, I meant the listeners.
Oh. Yeah, sure. Whatever. You fucking noobs. Just keep listening. I don't give a shit.
So disrespectful.
Give me $5 to $7. You can send us those questions through our
wow.
through our various social media platforms. I'm not as thick as you drug I am.
Yeah, all of our different social media platforms, like our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our Twitter,
at Dr. DC,
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our phone,
208-917-3238,
our Reddit.
It's r/Dr_DC.
Yeah, we've got a website.
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
And TikTok.
Dr. DC.
And an email.
DrDCPodcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
Holy
you can send us
shit.
physical mail.
Oh, yeah, that's right. To 301 Hogue Street, Whitehorse, Yukon, Canada, Y1A 1V8.
301 Hogue Street. We need the number in there. But yes, you can send that to either Richard Eden or Reed Vanier.
My palms are sweating.
Yeah, knees weak. You can send us reviews.
That's right.
5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or Facebook, or if you give us a review somewhere else, take a screenshot, send it to us.
That's right.
you can support us another way with our Patreon.
That's right. Go to patreon.com/Dr. DC Podcast.
No, /Dr.
God
DC.
damn it. So close. I almost had unlimited power. Icarus flew too close.
Yeah, that was the moment where Jafar realized that with his powers, there also came a lamp.
That's true, yeah. I want to be the most powerful genie.
Yep. Patreon.com/Dr. DC. So $1, $5, $7 level. They all give you access to the Doc Squad, our awesome fan community. And at the higher levels, you get bonus episodes, videos, theme polls, all sorts of fun stuff that helps to support us.
That's right. Speaking of supporting us, we've got a whole other podcast.
That's right. Ghostfacers, a Supernatural rewatch. We are going through every single episode of the CW's Supernatural. We are more than halfway through season 5 right now.
That's right.
We talk about real world monster lore, behind the scenes stuff about the show.
Sandwiches.
Yeah, filth.
About fucking putting 2 fingers in a ketchup bottle, making it squirt.
Yeah, baby. So if you want us to be gross about something else, go check that out.
All right, that's it for this week.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
Superheroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.
Adios.
Whoa.
Oh, wait, adios is Spanish.
Buenos Aires.
Adio?
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires is also Spanish. That's in Argentina.
Hold on. Ciao, ciao. Wait, I said the thing.
Ciao, Bella.
That was me. I said it.